Do you ever crave silence so deep it almost hums? Some Airbnbs welcome you in. Others remember who shut them. This one only had one rule. Do not close the door. And he broke it. Welcome to Tales Atelier, where we listen to whisperings from the other side.
Have you ever stayed somewhere that felt a little too alive? The kind of place where the silence listens back. I booked the Airbnb to get away from everything. Work, noise, screens. Just a small cabin 2 hours out of the city. The photos showed soft yellow light, wood panels, and a handwritten welcome sign on the counter. The Quiet Place, it was called. I thought that sounded peaceful. When I arrived, the forest around it was silent. No birds, no wind, just stillness. There was no host waiting, just a note on the door. Key under the rock. Welcome, guest. Inside, the air was colder than it should have been. A faint smell of cedar and rainwater. On the kitchen counter sat a laminated sheet titled House Rules. Most of it was ordinary stuff. No smoking. No parties. Take trash out on Sundays. Then, at the bottom, one final line. No punctuation, no context. Do not close the bedroom door. It made me laugh at first. I figured it was an airflow thing. Maybe old cabins got stuffy, or maybe someone got locked in once. Either way, it was odd. I texted the host's number. Hey, what's with the door rule? The message marked delivered, but I never got a reply. I shrugged it off, made tea, unpacked. By evening, the place almost felt cozy, until I noticed something. Every door in the cabin was open. The closet, the pantry, even the tiny bathroom door. All left just slightly ajar. When night fell, the woods disappeared behind the reflection on the window. My phone had no signal, no Wi-Fi. And the lights dimmed whenever the kettle boiled. I laughed at how cliché it all felt. Around midnight, I crawled into bed. The bedroom door was wide open like the sheet said. I could see straight down the short hallway to the living room. I remember thinking, it really is quiet here. Too quiet. Then came the first sound. A creak. Then another. Footsteps, soft, uneven, coming slowly down the hall. I froze, trying to decide if it was an animal outside, or maybe the old floorboards shifting. But these weren't random. They had weight, rhythm, distance. The sound stopped just at the edge of the doorway. I sat up and whispered, "Hello?" Nothing. Just the hum of the fridge in the kitchen. Then something brushed the wooden doorframe. Slow, deliberate, like fingertips dragging lightly over it. The sound was so close it made my scalp tighten. I grabbed my phone to use the flashlight. It wouldn't turn on. Dead battery. I stared into the darkness, seeing shapes that weren't really there. Until one of them moved. There was the faintest outline, a woman's shape, standing halfway between the light and shadow. I couldn't make out her face, but I could feel her watching me. The air in the room turned sharp, like static before lightning. My breath fogged, even though it wasn't cold. And then she spoke. A whisper, so near it felt like it came from behind me, instead of the hallway.
Thank you.
2 words, said with relief, or sorrow. I couldn't tell. The moment she spoke, the heaviness lifted. The air warmed. The shadows softened. The shape was gone. I sat there for hours, too scared to move, the door still wide open. At some point I must have dozed off sitting up, because when sunlight finally hit my face, I was still in the same position, hand clenched tight around the blanket. A folded paper had been slid under the door during the night. Same font, same laminated texture as the original sheet. It read, "Do not close the bedroom door." ever. And beneath it, written in pen, she remembers. My hands shook as I read it. The host never said anything about leaving notes. I wanted to pack up and leave right then, but when I tried the front door, the handle turned halfway and stopped, as if something on the other side held it in place. The footsteps came again, slow, barely audible, moving closer from down the hall. I whispered without meaning to, "Please, just let me leave." And then, through the gap of the open bedroom door, that same soft voice answered. Only this time, it trembled.
"Please, don't shut me in again."
The words seemed to echo inside the wood, as if the walls remembered them too. When the morning sun finally spilled across the floorboards, I realized I'd spent the entire night gripping the edge of the open door, holding it in place like a lifeline. And for the first time, I understood, the silence here wasn't empty. It was listening. Have you ever tried convincing yourself a sound wasn't real? That's what I spent the morning doing. I kept replaying the night in my head, pretending it was just wind, pipes, or my imagination feeding on silence. When daylight fills a place like this, it feels harmless. The floor looks ordinary, the shadows shorter. I almost laughed at myself for being scared. Almost. Then my phone buzzed. It was a text from the host. No greeting, no name, just one line. "You closed it." I stared at the screen, confused. "Closed what?" I typed. No reply. The message bubble never even showed as delivered this time. The bedroom door was still open, same as I left it. Yet I couldn't shake the feeling that something, or someone, had been watching to check. The next 2 nights were worse. Every time I started to drift off, the footsteps came back, soft, slow, almost shy. I left my phone recording on the bedside table, hoping to catch the sound, but when I played it back, there was only static. Right up until 2:43 a.m., when the file stopped completely. Not paused, not corrupted, just gone. By the 3rd night I was running on caffeine and nerves. I pushed a chair against the open door, figuring the noise, whatever it was, would wake me if it tried to move past. But I didn't make it through the night. Something heavy shifted in the dark, scraping the floor. Then the chair creaked. The air thickened like smoke without a smell. The door trembled once, twice, and then the chair slid aside by itself. Wood against wood, slow and steady, like invisible hands moving it out of the way. I couldn't move. My heartbeat was so loud I thought it might drown everything else out. Then the floorboard right beside my bed groaned. I turned on the flashlight on my phone. It flickered weakly, just long enough to catch the edge of a figure crouched in the doorway. Not standing, crouched, as if waiting for permission to come in. I shouted, instinct more than courage, and the light died instantly. When it came back, the doorway was empty again. At sunrise, I found the chair pushed neatly back under the desk, the door still open. On the hallway floor, a line of faint prints, bare feet, smaller than mine, led from the bedroom to the front door, and stopped there. The air smelled faintly of metal, like rain on old nails. I messaged the host again. "Is there someone else staying here? Are there cameras? I think someone's coming in at night." No reply, but the instant I hit send, another notification popped up. "Host Elise has updated your stay." Under house rules, there was a new line added. "Do not move the chair." That night, I left every light on. I sat on the couch and tried to keep my eyes open, but exhaustion won. When I woke up near dawn, the lights were off. Every bulb in the house, dark. The door stood open. The chair was gone. I found it outside on the porch, tipped over in the morning dew, as if something had dragged it there to make sure the path stayed clear. That's when I noticed the whisper again, barely a breath behind me, drifting from the bedroom.
Don't make me knock.
I turned, heart in my throat. The room looked normal, empty. But the wooden door frame now had faint indentations. Tiny half-moon marks, like someone had been tapping, over and over, from the inside. I should have left then, packed and gone, but the front door still wouldn't open, and part of me wanted to know why. Why her voice sounded less like a warning now, and more like a plea. Have you ever realized you're not the only one following the rules? By the fourth morning, the message finally came through. Just one, from the host again. You closed it. No context, no greeting. The timestamp said 2:44 a.m., the exact minute the recordings always cut out. I stared at the text for a long time, trying to convince myself it was automated, some bug in the Airbnb system, but deep down, I knew it wasn't. I walked through every room, half expecting to find someone hiding. Nothing. But the air had changed. It felt dense, like the house was holding its breath. When I reached the bedroom, I froze. The door, which I swore I'd left open, was shut tight. The knob was warm to the touch, as if someone had just let go. I pushed it open slowly. The hinges groaned, like something waking up. The room looked normal at first. Bed unmade, curtains drawn, morning light spilling across the floorboards. Then I saw it. Faint scratches on the inside of the door, clustered near the handle. 5 thin trails, like fingernails dragged across wood. I ran my thumb over them. Fresh. I tried to rationalize it. Maybe the last guest had a pet, or kids. Maybe it was old damage. But the moment I stepped back, the wood flexed under my fingers, soft, like it was breathing. That's when the sound began again. The slow, deliberate creak of footsteps from the hall. I whispered, "What do you want?" The footsteps stopped. A pause. Then came a whisper, low and strained, almost like it came through the walls.
Don't forget me.
The words hung there, trembling. I backed up until my heel hit the bed frame. My pulse felt wrong, too loud, out of rhythm with everything else. I grabbed my phone, hit record, and whispered into it. If anyone finds this, I think there's something in the house. When I listened back, I heard 2 voices. Mine and hers. The same whisper layered under mine, repeating every word a split second late. I dropped the phone. It hit the floor and went dark. That's when I saw it, a single handprint on the mirror across the room. Flat against the glass, fingers splayed, facing outward, as if someone had pressed from inside the reflection. I ran to it. My breath fogged the glass, but the print stayed clear. Outside, the light flickered. I thought it was lightning at first, then realized there wasn't a storm. I tried the front door again. It moved half an inch before locking tight, like the house itself had decided I wasn't leaving yet. My phone buzzed once more, a notification from Airbnb. Review your stay with host Elise. But there was no profile photo, no rating, just an empty circle where her face should have been. I looked closer. The account was listed as, "In memory of Elise." My stomach dropped. I searched her name online, hands shaking. There it was, a local news article from 3 years ago. Airbnb host found deceased in cabin bedroom. Door found closed from inside. The photo matched the listing. Same bed, same room, same open door in the background. I turned slowly, back toward that door, the one she warned me never to close. It swayed slightly in the draft, creaking on its hinge, like it wanted me to see it breathe. I didn't sleep that night. I just sat in the hall, staring at the frame, afraid to look away. And when dawn came, the first sunlight hit the scratches, revealing something I hadn't seen before. They weren't random lines. They formed letters, one word, etched deep enough to scar the grain. Stay.
Quick break. We appreciate you staying with us. We are new here and every little bit of support counts. Thank you so much for the like and for subscribing. Now, let's dive back in.
Have you ever realized a place remembers its pain? By the fifth morning, I'd stopped pretending this was some glitch in the app or my nerves. Something here wanted me to stay. The door was open when I woke up, though I clearly remembered shutting it during the night, just once, to test her. The second it clicked shut, the house had groaned, like it was straining to breathe through the walls. I left it open again, but the word carved into the wood haunted me. Stay. I needed answers, so I opened the Airbnb app, scrolled to the host's reviews, dozens of them, years apart. Almost everyone mentioned the rule. Lovely place, but strange about the door. Creaks all night if you close it. Didn't sleep much, felt watched. One review from 2021 stopped me cold. Did anyone else see her? No replies. Just that single question, sitting there like a confession no one wanted to touch. I clicked the user's name. It said account deleted. Then, as if the app knew what I was looking for, a suggested listing appeared beneath it. Same photos, same cabin, but titled, In Memory of Elise, Restored Space. The bio read, This home remains open for guests who remember to keep the door open, as Elise preferred. And the host, it's the same memorial profile messaging me now. I slammed my laptop shut and backed away. The air in the cabin thickened, like fog rolling in, without warning. The lights flickered once, twice, then steadied. I turned toward the bedroom and froze. The door was moving again, not closing this time. Opening wider. The sound that came with it wasn't footsteps anymore. It was breathing. Faint, hitching. Human. Something pale moved in the gap between the frame and the wall. A shoulder. Half a face. A woman, her head tilted as if listening. Her voice was quieter now. Almost shy.
Don't close it again, please.
I swallowed hard. Who are you?
Elise.
Her lips didn't move when she said it. The sound came from everywhere at once. Walls, floor, air. She stepped halfway into the light, hair draped over her face, and for a split second I saw the outline of a rope around her neck, just the shadow of one. I stumbled back, tripping over the edge of the rug. When I looked up, she was gone. Only the door remained, wide open, creaking softly in the draft. On the dresser, my phone screen lit up by itself. A new Airbnb message. Thank you for keeping it open. Then another. Someone closed it once. It hurt. My chest ached, like the air itself pressed against my ribs. I wanted to help her, whatever she was, but the words in memory of Elise looped in my head like a warning. I opened the door fully, letting the wind sweep through. Is this what you want? I whispered. For a moment, the house felt lighter. A breeze moved through the hall, and then, just as gently as it had opened, the door began to drift closed again. I ran to stop it, but the wind was gone. The air was dead still. Something unseen pushed back, firm but not violent, guiding the door shut with steady resistance. When it clicked into place, a whisper slid through the gap between the hinges.
Don't forget me again.
Then silence. The smell of cedar filled the room. The scratches on the door were gone. but in the reflection of the mirror, for 1 second, I saw another doorway behind me, a second bedroom that shouldn't exist, and someone standing in it, smiling faintly, waiting for me to see. Have you ever tried to reason with something you couldn't see? By that 5th night, reason didn't feel real anymore. The house had its own heartbeat, and it matched mine. I told myself I'd imagined Elise, some sleep-deprived hallucination, but the mirror still showed that second room behind me. Always there, shimmering faintly in the dark, like it was waiting for me to notice again. I whispered, "If you're real, tell me what you want." The air didn't move, but the door did. It creaked an inch wider, then stopped, like an answer. I stared at the words carved faintly into the wood. "Stay." My pulse kicked against my ribs. I needed proof, something I could record, replay, rationalize. So I taped the door open with duct tape, tight across the hinge, and balanced my phone on a book, facing the frame. If it moved again, I'd see it happen. The night was so quiet, even the walls seemed to be holding their breath. 2:43 a.m., the exact time everything always started. The tape peeled off by itself, with a slow, sticky sound. I heard each fiber stretch, one by one. Then, the door eased shut, with unbearable patience. The light dimmed, flickered twice, then went out completely. And in the reflection of the mirror, there she was again. She stood behind me in that impossible mirrored room, barefoot, her hair hanging over her face. The air thickened with the faint scent of lavender and old wood smoke. When she spoke, the words rattled inside my chest, rather than my ears.
You said you wouldn't close it.
Her voice wasn't angry, it was trembling. I stumbled toward the door, panic clawing at my throat. I didn't. It moved. Something inside the walls responded with a muffled sob, like the house itself was crying. The doorknob rattled violently, once, twice, then it stilled. The silence afterward felt deeper than before, like the air had forgotten how to carry sound. I grabbed the handle and yanked it open. The wood pulsed warm under my palms, as though blood still moved through it. Beyond the doorway, Elise was standing halfway in the hall, watching me. Her eyes glimmered like wet glass. There were faint bruises around her throat. She mouthed something I couldn't hear. Her lips trembled, then my phone buzzed on the floor beside me. A notification blinked. "Host Elise has sent you a message." The preview line read, Please don't shut me in again." My hands shook as I tapped it open. The message vanished instantly, replaced by another.
I remember how dark it was.
Every light in the house flared on at once, then burst out, leaving the cabin in blackness again. Something brushed my arm, not cold, warm, human. A breath moved against my ear, gentle as an apology. I could feel the ache in her voice when she whispered,
It wasn't meant to be locked.
I swallowed hard, fighting tears I didn't expect. What wasn't supposed to be locked? The door? Her answer was simple, broken.
Me.
The door began to pull shut again, slow and heavy. I pushed back with all my strength, feeling her weight behind it. The wood vibrated, trembling between us. Through the mirror, I saw her reflection place her hand where mine should be, our palms aligned, separated by glass and death. The air grew warmer, the pressure eased. For the first time, the house exhaled. I let go. The door drifted fully open. The floorboards sighed. The air tasted clean again, like rain after fire. My phone buzzed once more.
Thank you.
Then the listing disappeared from my screen. Host Elise was gone, The rule sheet vanished from the table. The cabin was still, not haunted, just empty. When I finally laid down, I kept the door wide open. I didn't sleep, but I didn't need to. The night was quiet, peaceful, and somewhere down the hall, I swore I heard a single set of footsteps, finally walking away. Have you ever left a place that didn't feel done with you? That's what leaving the cabin felt like. The air was still warm, still humming softly, as if something invisible was catching its breath after being quiet for too long. When I woke, morning light spilled across the floor in long gold stripes. The door was still open, exactly where I'd left it. No footsteps, no whispers, just stillness. For the first time in days, I felt like the house wasn't watching me. It was resting. I gathered my things in silence. The laminated rule sheet was gone from the counter, replaced by a folded piece of paper. It said only, "Checkout time, whenever you're ready." No signature, no ink bleed, just that. The edges smelled faintly of lavender. I wanted to believe it was my imagination, but the scent lingered even as I stepped outside. The trees swayed for the first time since I'd arrived, as if the forest could finally breathe again too. When I looked back, the cabin seemed smaller, more ordinary. The windows reflected sunlight instead of shadows. For a second, I thought I saw movement inside. A figure standing in the doorway, smiling faintly, but when I blinked, it was only light shifting through dust. My phone buzzed as I started the car. One last notification from Airbnb. Please rate your stay with host Elise. The profile photo was still blank, but the listing now said, temporarily unavailable, resting space. I tried to leave a review anyway. I typed, peaceful, quiet. She can rest now. But the moment I hit submit, the app glitched and closed itself. When I reopened it, the listing was gone completely. Driving down that dirt road, I couldn't stop glancing at the rearview mirror. The trees blurred together, green and gold streaks against the windshield. Then I saw it, just once, at the bend before the forest swallowed the cabin completely. The bedroom door, still open, catching the sunlight like a promise kept. I smiled, and maybe that's what she wanted. Days later, back home, I still couldn't sleep. Not because of fear, because of habit. I kept my own bedroom door open, just a few inches. The air felt lighter that way, like something good could move through it. Sometimes, in the blue edge of early morning, I wake up thinking I hear faint footsteps. Not the heavy, haunted kind, but gentle ones, pacing like someone checking to make sure everything's all right. One night, I heard a whisper through the crack of my door. Soft, familiar, grateful.
Thank you.
No fear this time, just peace. I don't tell people what happened at that cabin. Not the real story anyway. They'd think it was grief or stress or the mind playing tricks after too many sleepless nights. But sometimes, when I scroll through Airbnb and see a blank profile or a missing listing, I think about her. How easily a person can disappear behind a door. How long a place can remember. I went back once, months later. The road was overgrown, half swallowed by moss. The cabin looked abandoned, roof sagging, porch collapsed. But when I peered through the dusty window, I could see the bedroom door. Still open. The air inside shimmered with sunlight and dust motes, like it was full of life again. Before I left, I whispered into the quiet. You're free now, Elise. The breeze picked up. The trees swayed. For a moment, I thought I heard her voice carried in the wind.
Thank you for leaving it open.
I stood there a long time, hand on the old wooden frame, listening as the forest exhaled around me. And when I finally walked away, I realized she hadn't been haunting that place at all. She'd just been waiting for someone to listen long enough to let her go.